lots and lots of PlayStation 5. That and more on WumpaTime. Hey everyone, it's me, Shemp. I'm back with another busy WumpaTime episode with my favorite co-host ever.
It's Canadian Guy, who I am also with my favorite co-host ever, Shemp.
Oh, who? Oh, me? Oh, it's nice. So we are fresh off of the PlayStation week because it has just been nothing but like it has been episode after episode of us saying, "Hey Sony, something," and then Sony was like, "Okay, everything, just all at once."
Shotgunned it.
It was they put it in a loaded cannon and just fired it at our faces, and we were like, okay, well, let me dissect this." So before we get into the entirety of Sony's whole debacle, let's start with something that's a little even more kind of stupid, I guess, because with the PS5 stuff, it's like, okay, I understand. This, I don't really get. I'm sure you've heard of it because, you commented on it earlier. So the Ubisoft game that they announced a year ago or so.
It was last E3. It was like their final grand reveal was this game.
That was that was like the second game on PS5 that they were showcasing, right? Something like that. It was after
next gen. We knew it was next gen.
Yeah, it was next gen, and they called it Gods and Monsters, and that's what everyone called it. And it was, you know what? They were like, "Oh, this might be a temp name," and everyone was like, "You know what? No, it's a good name. Yeah, Gods and Monsters. Very simple, very brand friendly, very short and sweet. It looks cool, whatever." And we didn't really see much of it. We didn't see anything really.
No.
So
just like the art style. That's about it. We got like a quick little cutscene to give an idea what the art style will look like.
Yeah, which also dramatically changed. I'll get into that in a second. But I'm sure you've heard that the name has been changed to Immortals, Fenyx Rising. And yes, arguably way worse. And the reason for this is specifically because Monster Energy Drink didn't like it. And that's it. That's it. Monster was like, "Hey, you're infringing on our trademark," and Ubisoft was like, "No, we aren't." And then they were like, "Okay, you're right, but it doesn't sound good." And they were like, "Oh, does it not? Oh, what should we call it?"
The fact that Ubisoft changed it just because of Monster Energy Drink just makes me angry. It literally does.
They just rolled over.
The name before just literally had a ring to it. Gods and Monsters.
Gods and Monsters.
And it's simple, to the point.
You could argue that people would say it's generic, but so every other game name is generic.
Even that, I don't know. Even the idea of it being generic, I don't know. Gods and Monsters, it worked for what it was going for. You could tell it was taking place in a Greek mythos, and Gods and Monsters. Okay, yeah,
sure.
Sure. But then they went ahead and went with Immortals, Fenyx Rising. But not Phoenix like PH Phoenix.
No.
No,
that's a good point.
See that? No. Your main character's name is Fenyx, but they spell it Fenyx. Is that it?
Yeah, I hate it
Fenyx.
so much.
It sounds like
Fenyx.
Fenyx. It literally sounds like the Chinese. It sounds like a Chinese mobile game app.
Dude, I was just about to say. Ever since they changed the name, they've been going hardcore into YouTube ads. Where every time I watch a video, and YouTube does the thing now where it gives you two ads. One of them is always Immortals, and I swear to God, I forgot who I was watching it with, but I was watching something, and we got the ad for it, and their first thought was, "Is this another mobile game?" Because it looks like a mobile game. The art style, like just the thumbnail of the girl with the helmet and everything, it looks like Clash of Clans.
It does. It looks like something that it looks like those really, really bad Chinese ads that you see pop up on Facebook. Oh, don't let your girlfriend see you playing this game.
You won't last 10 seconds.
Yeah, and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, man, this is so bad. Or the name is just, there's no marketability. If they went with Immortals, Gods and Monsters, I think that would have been fine.
That would have been even cooler.
That was Immortals, Gods and Monsters.
Immortals, Gods and Monsters, even Immortal Gods and Monsters, whatever.
Immortal, just not
anything.
The Fenyx Rising.
It's like if they announced Watch Dogs and then it came out and they just called it Hacker.
Hacker.
Yeah, you gave it a cool name.
Rise of the Hackers.
Hackers. I forgot the main character's name. Whatever, joke's over. Anyways.
Yeah, but yeah, no, this was something that was really ridiculous, and Ubisoft changing the name on the brand like that is just really silly.
Yeah, it was just kind of last minute, and they were like, all right, change everything, and ads, go. And
I have not seen one person say they like it better.
Nope, I have not seen anyone say they like it at all. Like in general, I haven't seen any gameplay. I saw was a screenshot of the character on the top of the mountain, and I was like, "Wow, this is Breath of the Wild."
Breath of the Wild,
like to the T. I could see every location. I could see the volcano, and then I could see like the Hyrule Castle in the background. It's one thing to take inspiration from something. It's another thing to do the same exact thing, especially from a AAA developer like Ubisoft. I don't know. That's a very low blow.
Now, there is a positive to this, is that if they are mimicking Breath of the Wild, if they're trying to mimic and do their own take on it, here's the thing. The good thing is that you're probably going to get a decent game. The game is going to be decent, but you're going to be having that constant weight around your ankle of saying, but it's like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, but it's Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, now, the other advantage is that this is coming out for the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and the PS4 and the One. So you're going to get better graphics, I would at least hope, than Breath of the Wild. So there's positives to mimicking Nintendo in that sense on a next-gen console because you have more power. But but they're going to have to show more, and I think that even like when I typed in Immortals, Gods and Monsters, the articles that people were writing, the top 4 articles all mentioned Breath of the Wild in their article.
See, that's a problem.
That's a big problem. And the thing is that Ubisoft is going to have to work their behinds off to make sure that they can get the point across that no, this is not Breath of the Wild. They have to try to market, even if it is like Breath of the Wild, they have to market it not like Breath of the Wild. Maybe similar aspects, but not Breath of the Wild. The marketing is going to be the key thing for this game, because otherwise I think it's going to die. And speaking of going to die,
death and destruction.
Segue.
It's a sad day. It's a sad day that we announced this, but officially Nintendo has announced that first-party support, or just support in general for manufacturing of 3DS consoles, has ended. So no more Nintendo 3DS games or consoles. It's finally over. It's over.
It's done. It's dead.
It has
3DS.
It was 9 years.
It's a great console, dude.
It was a great console.
Any hindrance it had was due to the fact that it was called a 3DS, just marketing again.
Yeah, dude, I cannot explain to you how frustrating it is to sell these at work, because people will be like, "Do you guys have a DS?" I'm like, "Okay, which one? The new one." Oh, we have the 3DS, the new 3DS, the 2DS, the new 2DS XL, and they're like, "Is it new or used?" It's used, but it's called new. It's the new 3DS. I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
It's really, really bad. It's really bad naming protocol. It's the exact same thing that happened with the Wii and the Wii U.
Yep.
Where you had the Wii, a fantastic console, and I think Nintendo really, really needs to figure out a way to change their naming protocols, because you have the Wii, grossly successful.
Oh yeah. It's not the number one. It's like the third most sold console ever.
Yeah, I think the Switch finally passed the Wii. The Wii was a fantastic console. The Wii U was literally the exact opposite of it being like one of the worst consoles to have ever launched. And the thing is that half of it was, the majority of it was the third-party support for it was garbage, because nobody wanted to work with that tablet. Nobody did.
No, and if you had third parties, they were like, for example, EA, they were like, "Oh, the new Nintendo console. Let's put Mass Effect 3 on it. Not the first 2 for Nintendo fans, the third one." So they can just jump right in.
Yeah, they know what's going on. So you got that. Then you got the fact that the marketing for it was abysmal. The
Oh,
marketing
yeah.
for it, because the fact that it was the same name, it reused the same remotes, this, that, and the other. People were like, "Oh yeah, so it's just a peripheral. The tablet is a
Yeah,
peripheral." Just
they
like
thought it was
all
for the
other,
Wii.
Yeah, for the Wii, and the peripheral is called the U, so it's the Wii U. No. It was a completely different console. And the thing is that I experienced this firsthand because I told my parents, I said, "Hey, you guys, I'm gonna go pick up a Wii U," and they're like, "Why?" I'm like, and they're like, "You already have a Wii." I'm like, "No, I don't have a Wii U." They're like, "But it's like $400." I'm like,
Yeah. I
"Yeah,
want one.
it's a brand new console." They're like, "It's a brand new console." And they were like, "What?" And the thing was that I experienced that firsthand, and I heard it so much. And the fact was that the 3DS still did good,
Oh, yeah.
but it still did great. Not to knock down the 3DS. I loved my 3DS, but a lot of its hindrance came from actually two things. Not just the fact that it was called the 3DS because it had that because of the naming, but also that 3D thing that the actual implementation of the 3D effect made people sick.
Oh, yeah, same. It made me very sick.
I did not like it. I turned it off. It was a stronger, more powerful DS, and that's fine. I had it off, and the graphics on it were great. I loved it. Like, man, well done and everything.
Yeah, it was cool. I like some games like Monster Hunter, especially on a new 3DS XL. They looked great. I was surprised that I was getting that performance out of a 3DS, considering that in high school everyone around me had a 3DS, but I had the Vita. I was the Vita kid, and you know.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, and I would come up with like Uncharted, and be like, look at these graphics. It's like a portable PS3, and they're like, whoa, cool. I'm gonna go to my console that actually has games, and I'm like, but no.
Hey, look, Pokemon.
I got Little Big Planet.
The pain.
Yeah,
pain.
but 9 years later, and the 3DS sold, I think so far, 75.77 million units.
That's still disgusting.
Yeah, that's
disgusting.
a lot. That's under the PSP, which was like 82 million, I think. But that's a lot of 3DS. I know that's everything, like 3DS and 2DS and everything, but like Nintendo's support for this thing was full throttle. Like they did a remake of Luigi's Mansion and they put it on the 3DS.
Yeah, that one confused me still. That one.
Yeah. And they ported Wii games to it too, like Kirby's Epic Yarn. They just put that on the 3DS.
Yeah, or Yoshi's Woolly World.
Yeah,
that was another one that they just brought over.
Just for no reason.
Yeah, and now here's the thing though, is that them discontinuing. Now this is something that's interesting because when they discontinued the DS, they never discontinue a console when unless there's another console to take its place. So we had the DS go out of, they stopped producing DSs, but when they stopped producing DSs, they already were full swing into 3DSs, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So now we got the Switch because people have been asking, is it a portable or is it an at-home console? And it's a hybrid of both. They're putting the markets together. But it now shows the question of like, what is Nintendo doing? What's their plan? And it seems like that they want to approach the plan by just combining the games to both markets together, the mobile and home console market together.
Yes, and they've even, I don't know if you saw, but Nintendo did tell developers, hey, if you're developing for Switch games, make sure that they are 4K ready for the future. And everyone was like, I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting for whatever the next Switch is. They better not call it the Switch Pro.
Switch XL, Switch Large, Switch
Pro.
Pro. I mean, we have the Switch Lite. We call it the Switch Heavy.
Just please don't do that, Nintendo. That's going to be real interesting. Speaking of real interesting.
Speaking of not doing any that, yes. Good God, the PS5. The PS5. So let's start with the positives. All right. Sony, after Microsoft was like, hey guys, here's our console, Sony was like, us too. Bam. So they held this big PS5 event and they were showing some more games, they were showing more in-depth gameplay, they were showing all kinds of stuff. At the very end, they dropped the price, and it was what I said in a previous episode, because I said that I saw the prices, and it was the exact same.
There was no shock. There was
no
no shock.
It was like,
whatsoever.
oh, cool. There it is.
Yeah, that was it. That was literally. It was like, oh, cool.
Yeah. Oh, neat. It's what I said. And it's $4.99 for the all digital. No, $3.99 for the all digital, and $4.99 for the one with the disc drive. And unlike Xbox, both do have the 825 gigabyte SSD. I almost said a terabyte. I'm sorry, it's not a terabyte. It's 825. I know, I hate it so much, but they announced everything, and the thing ended, and it was like, okay, cool. I wonder when they're gonna launch pre-orders. And then you look at your phone, and you're like, oh, they started an hour ago, and all of the world was just in a frenzy. Like,
oh gosh,
like it was so nightmarish. It comes out on the 12th, November 12th, for certain territories, and then the 17th, I think.
No, 19th.
19th for the rest of the world, and that's mainly due to they haven't had a concrete discussion with China on how they're going to launch it yet. So it's going to be the 19th for everyone, especially China. But it was just like, all right, pre-orders, because there was a clip. I don't know if you remember it, but I think it was Jeff Keighley talking to someone at Sony.
Oh, yeah. I've shared this clip like 8 times.
It's
just to
so
make
good
sure that everybody saw it.
Because Jeff Keighley was like, "What? You're just gonna push it?" It was like what, months ago, and Jeff Keighley was like, "So you're just gonna push a button and then pre-orders are gonna come out?" And he's like, "No, we're gonna give people plenty of time to pre-order. Go, 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 go! No."
Yeah, so in regards to what happened there was that basically what happened was that there was a huge rumor that was going around that the PlayStation 5 was about to be open for pre-orders, and people started lining up. And Jeff Keighley had heard about that, and he was talking to the marketing manager of PlayStation and asking him, okay, are you guys opening up the pre-orders, yes or no? And he's like, no, we're not opening pre-orders. We were getting calls of people lining up, and we're like, why? We haven't announced anything. He goes, the best part is, he goes, listen, we're going to give you guys ample time to let you guys know when the console is coming out. You guys are not... The best part is when he goes, you guys aren't going to have to rush out to stores in a panic to have to go get these consoles. You guys are going to know firsthand with enough discussion and time
Just kidding.
to be able to go to the stores and get it. Yeah, that was the biggest lie I've ever heard. It was nothing but panic, hysteria, and madness. And personally, as a personal story... I tried to get onto our GameStop, which is EB Games, lockout. It was absolute and total locked out. You couldn't, dude, every time you would try to gain access to anything, the whole site would just explode. It just, you couldn't do it.
That and I was at Best Buy's website, and it was like the page would load sometimes, and you would try to click checkout, and it said error, try again later. So like an hour later, it crashed. I go to the homepage and it says it's in my cart, and I'm like, oh, sick. So I go to my cart and I hit checkout, and it doesn't do anything, and it said try again later. Hours go by, I try again later, doesn't work. The next day, it's out of my cart. Yeah.
EB Games, it wouldn't even do that. It would go white screen. White screen, and
it's like, oh nope,
white screen.
I get a 404 for I get 404 for Target, I think.
Yeah, dude, I got to the fulfill your payment. I punched in my PayPal information. I was like, okay, here it is. Here we go. And died.
Nope.
I was great. Like, oh, great. Awesome. This is amazing. So, EB Games. So what happened was EB Games was locked out. Walmart was locked out. And Best Buy was locked out. So we have a small Canadian store, though, that's called The Source. And that's like a local Canadian chain. Ooh. It was at one point the Canadian Radio Shack, but all Radio Shacks in Canada got turned to The Source. So I went to their site, and they had them for sale. And to let you guys know, a Canadian PlayStation 5 with a disc after tax is $711.
Nice.
Pain.
That
Nothing
hurts.
but pain. But I got a pre-order through The Source, and I made sure I looked at my credit card, and they took the money out. I was like, okay.
And you were like, oh, put it back.
Yeah, put it back, please. So, yeah, so we got that. And then I was like, I don't trust this. I don't trust this because it said the shipment's going to be coming on the 19th. I don't want it to be on the 19th. I want it first day. And not to mention, I don't trust my $700 box being bounced around in the back of a courier's truck. So,
yeah.
I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to go to EB Games early in the morning. So I get there at 9 o'clock. Nobody's there. They open at 11. I was like, okay. So I go to Tim Hortons. I grab a coffee and a sandwich. I go back. 9:15. Nobody's there. So I'm sitting there and I'm waiting. 10 o'clock hits. And one person walks up and gets in line. And then all of a sudden, like 6 other people start jumping out of their cars. And I realized, everybody was waiting in their car to see who was going to line up first. So I get in and I'm 4th in line.
Oh, no.
And I was like, okay, 4th in line. We're fine. The manager comes out early and I know her. She's a big sweetheart. She's like, okay, what we do is we put all the consoles on tickets. So I'm going to hand you a ticket. And if you have your ticket, you have your console.
Oh, I wish that's how they did it here.
Yeah, they said if you have a ticket, you have the console. Just pre-order within the first hour. You should stay in line. Don't go into your car unless if you have to go to the bathroom or go to your car to grab your phone or whatever. That's fine, but they prefer you didn't. They said, but if you have a ticket, as long as you got a ticket, you are guaranteed a spot to get the console. And so what they did is that the first thing that they did, they said, okay, who's here for a regular console? Everyone put their hands up. She gave out the tickets to everybody. There was like 6 of us in line. And they said, okay, who's here for a digital? And 2 people put their hands up. They gave her the digital. And then like, okay, who's here for an extra controller? Who's here for the charging station? Here's the media remote, blah, 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 blah. And she gave out the tickets to everybody. And then she went back inside. She goes, if anybody comes up, knock on the glass. Well, they sold out. They gave out all their tickets at about 10:15. They were done. No more. The media remote was gone. The controllers were gone. The consoles were gone. Everything was gone. And then at like 10:45, a swarm of people came. Like, okay, and they went and they lined up behind us. And we're like, there's no more. And they're like, what do you mean there's no more? You haven't even bought them yet. And I'm like, we have our tickets. They're like, what do you mean tickets?
What do you mean tickets?
Yeah. We had to explain every single person. They're like, what do you mean? They're like, that's not fair. And I'm like, well, we were here first.
No.
So that was, yeah, exactly. So I went in and I got a physical pre-order. So I have a pre-order from the source at the moment still. I'm still holding on to that just in case. But I have a pre-order because I'm thinking to myself as well, I'm trying to do the big brain tactics here, is that if we get shut down again, because of the pandemic, I'm still getting a console shipped to me directly. So there's a lot
of brain moment right there.
The big brain moment, right?
So what I did is, since I couldn't do it online, the next day I woke up like early, and I went to Best Buy before they opened, and I already saw that there was a line of people out there, and I was like, oh. So I hop out and I get in line real fast. There was like 20 people out. So we were all in line and we were waiting, and then a manager comes out and he goes, all right, I'm going to save you guys some time. Who is here for the NVIDIA 3080? And I was like, what? Okay, who here is going to be here for that? 18 people walk up to him, and he's like, all right, we're sold out. We can't get any. Okay, me and one other person are left. It's just 2 of us left. And he goes, who's here for the PlayStation? Both of us raised our hands, and he goes, oh, okay. We walk up there, and he goes, we're sold out. And I was like,
what?
Oh, cool, dude. So my thing,
I bet you had high hopes there.
I know. I was like, me. Okay, my thing was I couldn't go to GameStop because they opened the same time as we opened, so I had to go to work, and I doubt that they even had any to begin with. So my thing is I wanted to pre-order in store, because if you go in store, you can put a certain amount down, like $50 or $100, reserve yours, and then pay it off before it comes out, or pay it off when it comes out. That's what I would prefer to do. But if you do it online, you have to pay all of it right then and there, and there is no payment plan. What they'll do is, at Best Buy at least, is when you pre-order it, they'll take the money out, hold it for a bit, and then give it back to make sure you have the funds. But, I don't have the funds right away, So I can't just do that. So I'm sitting here like, oh, cool. I guess all I can do is hopefully pick one up at launch. And that's it. Just at launch.
And it's terrible because you're not the only person that had to go through with that. There are people that actually got a pre-order in. It took their money out. And then 2 days later, a bunch of people got refunds.
Yeah, they all got canceled.
They all got canceled.
The same thing happened with the Mario 3D All-Stars thing with all the pre-orders going on. I think Amazon canceled a bunch of pre-orders because they said, quote, woefully high demand.
Woefully high demand, exactly. And again, this was a huge mistake by Sony. This
is all Sony.
This was all Sony's fault because they communicated to everybody, don't worry, you're not going to have to pay. And here's the thing. Xbox, they told everybody, hey, listen, you're going to be able to open up the pre-orders at this time. You're going to be able to get access to it. Don't worry. You're not going to have to panic. Everything's going to be fine. And they stuck to it. They're like, on the 22nd, you can walk in and pre-order your Xbox. That's the time. And by the time most people found out of the PlayStation 5, it was already sold out. Only the people that were like watching the show obsessively, watching the showcase, and then paying attention to on Twitter like a bunch of stalkers like me, where I just stalk Twitter all the time.
You're foaming at the mouth like,
no, that's exactly it. No, that was exactly me. I was like, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Only they got it, right? Mm-hmm. And what also happened was Jeff Keighley, I guess. No, it's not his fault, but still, he had tweeted out that some retailers were actually starting to open up their pre-orders the day before. And so
what?
So before the pre-orders opened right when the show ended for some retailers, but they didn't officially announce it. And he didn't specify which ones. So I went to EB Games, all my EB Games in the area, and all 3 cities, they all said, no, we don't got any information right now. Went to Best Buy, no information. Went to Walmart, no information. And they said, yeah, we have nothing. And then literally by the next day, they had their numbers, they had their stuff. And I'm like, man, how fast did this all go through? And I guess the one guy was like, he literally turned off his phone because of the amount of panic and hysteria that was going on in the higher ups at EB Games.
Corporate
was just like, well, could you imagine corporate at EB?
Oh yeah, they're like, wait, now? Oh, yesterday?
Yeah, exactly. So everyone's just like losing their marbles, but this was an absolutely terrible thing because, like I said, there are people that think, oh yeah, I got a pre-order, and then they get an email. It's like, okay, it's back ordered. Maybe it may be back ordered, it may not be back ordered. We don't know. No, your order is canceled, or outright you just get a refund and you don't know why, and it's all bad. All of it is just bad.
Everything about it is bad.
Sony really, really, really messed up.
Well, the thing is, Sony even admitted it. The PlayStation Twitter account today, I think, or I'm sorry, Saturday? This is going up on Sunday, but Saturday, they tweeted, "Hey, we messed up." They even admitted, hey, that's our fault. They assured us that there are going to be more PS5 pre-orders and there's going to be plenty of PS5s at launch for you to buy. So that's reassuring, but it's still going to be a hassle.
Yeah.
And this isn't even going into the other problems that we have because Sony, during the press conference that they had, they were not clear at all on just on many things. One thing we're going to get into after this next topic, but one issue that we have, because this was detailed later, is how big the games are going to be. Because we were all thinking about it. Boy. We were thinking about it before any of this happened. So, like we said, the PS5 is launching with an 825 gigabyte SSD. Super stupid, very dumb number. That's not going to hold a lot of games. And that further proved our point because, for example, Spider-Man Miles Morales, I don't know why I said it like that. Morales, it is going to be 106 gigabytes. That's without any updates or anything.
Now,
That's
here's the
vanilla.
thing. Yeah, vanilla. And not just that. Remember, this is a launch title. So
Yes.
that means that what you see now is the minimum graphical base stuff, the bar that is starting. The games are going to get even higher quality, higher textures, higher everything. And you know what that means?
Yeah.
Those numbers are going to skyrocket. Now, let me clarify here. Now, I might be wrong here, so please correct me if I'm wrong. But if you have the game physically, you don't have to ingest the entire disc. Am I right or wrong on that?
So far on the PS5 at least, they have not confirmed. But I know with PS4, that's how it is. It copies a certain like PS4 games after the midpoint of its lifetime started doing the thing where they install a chunk of the program to the hard drive, and then it reads everything else from the disk.
Right.
That's why it says you need a minimum of this amount. Because when the PS4 launched, and we had launch games like Knack that required a gig, and then it just read off the disk. And now we're ending with Last of Us Part 2, which was 105 gigs.
Yeah.
So we go from
that's
1
ridiculous.
to 105. I can't imagine what 106 to whatever is going to be. I'm scared.
And the thing is Miles Morales was also based off of the architecture and engine of the previous game.
Yes.
So it's older hardware that's just updated, right? It's still great. Don't get us wrong. It's still fantastic architecture nonetheless, but it's not brand new, brand spanking shining new. It's not going to be built from the ground up. And the thing is that's with architecture that's based off of an older generation. What about the next Spider-Man game where it's brand new architecture?
Oh no, even Ratchet and Clank, because that runs off the same engine.
Yep.
All of Insomniac's things are running off the same engine.
So Mike, the question becomes now here's the thing. Now we've been smearing PlayStation and they fully deserve it, but now I gotta turn and look at Xbox a little bit here. I gotta look at that Series S here. The Series S clocks in at 500 gigs SSD.
The all digital system.
The all digital. 500 gigabytes. Now here's the thing. Let's just say for extrapolation that PlayStation does the same thing that PlayStation 4 did, which was it installs only a chunk of the game from the disc and reads it and reads the rest off the disc and then loads whatever it needs to from the SSD. Let's just say that, okay?
Okay.
The One S has to, if it's digital, it has to install everything.
Yeah.
Right? That's a 500 gigabyte hard drive. And Miles Morales is based off of an old architecture game. If we have a game like that, let's say maybe, I don't know, let's throw something out here. Let's say they do something like that for Gears of War, where they release a sidestep game that's like an expansion to Gears of 5 or whatever, right? And they do the same thing. And let's say that's 106 gigabytes, okay? That is 1/5 of the entire hard drive for one
game.
One game.
I hate this.
You see, now, this is a problem. This is an issue.
This is a big problem.
Now, this is also a big problem for the. I'm not just excluding Sony from this too, because the digital edition also only has 825 gigabytes. While better than 500, that's still not enough.
No.
But at least there's 325 more gigabytes over on the PlayStation side, so you're going to be able to cram in 3 more games. Woohoo!
Yeah, oh boy,
right? But Xbox, it's literally 1/5 of the entire hard drive if they release a game that's similar to Miles Morales. Now, that's not even talking about later on. Now, of course, there's the expandable memory, which is proprietary for Xbox.
Oh boy.
Seagate is making proprietary hard drives, NVMe drives specifically for Xbox, and we've seen listings on them, and they are not cheap. Now, there were people that were telling me and calling me stupid by saying, hey, they're only going to be like $100. That's what we said. They said it's going to be affordable. I was like, okay, if it's $100, that's not so bad. Fine. Then yeah, that's great. I mean, But the thing is that we've seen listings from anywhere from $200 to $250.
Yeah, I was just about to pull up the prices if I can find them, because I did see them on Best Buy the other day. Oh,
because if you think about
there it is. Found it.
Because if you think about it, right? If that 1 terabyte, how much is it? How much is the listing saying?
It is $199.99 USD.
Is it on sale, or is that the base price?
The base price, and it plugs in. Oh, okay. So what? Okay, so you know how we saw that huge slot in the back that we thought was for the memory cards?
Yeah,
it's not.
This is it, right?
No.
No, what?
Because it's showing it being plugged into the back. Here, let me send it to you.
That what?
Yeah, I know. Wait, no, this is Xbox One. What? That's an Xbox One X.
Yeah.
What?
Are they saying that it's compatible? Maybe they're saying it's compatible with both?
No. I am.
That's confusing.
I'm confused.
Okay, so I digress. The point is, that this is confusing where it's plugging into a 1X as well through a USB cable. But the point is, at the moment, what we know from what we've seen is $200. Now, is it $100? I sure as heck hope so.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Because if it is, and I think that's going to be the big key factor into this, is this expandable memory. Now, PlayStation has what seems to be a bit of a better option on paper until you get into the nitty gritty of it. And that is that it runs an M.2 NVMe drive. And you can go and buy an M.2 drive. In fact, that's what I'm running on my computer right now.
Yeah, and they're awesome because they're so low profile. But
exactly.
Even Sony, like Mark Cerny, when they were doing the whole showcase
of the GDC talk?
Yeah, they were doing the whole showcase of the PS5 architects and how it works and yada, yada, yada. Mark Cerny was like, yeah, we even... we discussed how we're going to do external storage, and we're going to do an M.2 drive, but the problem is that the drive installed on the PS5 is so future-proofed that it does not work with any modern day M.2s.
Right. And the thing is that, and the reason why he's saying it's so future-proofed is because that M.2 drive has been built specifically for all the components and all the things that are within the PlayStation 5. So you can get cards that are equivalent to the PlayStation card, but there's bottlenecks.
Yep.
Right? And it's like that with every PC component. You can't have a perfect. You buy a motherboard from one store, and then you can buy the graphics card from somewhere else, and you can put it all together, and it's all fine. But there are going to be bottlenecks, no matter how much you go. There's going to be a bottleneck somewhere, right?
Mm-hmm. That's just how it is. Because the technology is constantly evolving.
Exactly. You can't. But the thing is with the consoles, all the parts and components have been built to work with another part and component that it knows. So that's why there are no bottlenecks, there are no problems, and there are very little bottlenecks, because that's the whole point of a console. It can get more metal from its performance.
Yeah.
However, you have the M.2 drive that the PlayStation 5 has, and it's clocking in at these crazy high numbers. You could go out and buy another M.2 drive with the same stats as the PlayStation 5's, but you're going to pop it in, and there's going to be bottlenecks. And you can't have bottlenecks when it comes to these things.
No. Especially something that you're touting as so futuristic and next gen, yet I'm having to deal with all of these problems.
Right, and this is an issue. This is an actual huge problem, because this is going to be what's going to, I think, determine a huge margin of people in terms of what they're going to be going with. Is that if Xbox can get it so they can make those external hard drives or those external cards or whatever it is, whatever it is, $100, then the Series S beats the PlayStation 5 digital, bar none. Easy. Right there. Oh,
yeah.
Easy because of the memory. However, but other than that, though, if PlayStation can figure out a way to make M.2 drives run well, or figure out a background process to, maybe if you stick a NVMe drive in that's maybe not as quick and has bottlenecks, there's a way to alleviate that or figure out a way to be able to maybe split, like, okay, maybe they can split the files on both the NVMe drives. They're like, okay, or so that maybe they're like, okay, you stick in the new NVMe drive, and the console goes, okay, we have 2 SSD drives now. We can start splitting files into each SSD drive and put certain files on the slower one that doesn't require instant, quick loading as quick as the other one. Does that make sense?
No,
so they
yeah.
put the higher priority files on the internal quick NVMe drive, and then the files that are not as quite high priority on the second NVMe drive, so it shares and it splits the data, right? That's the only thing I can think of for it to be affordable.
And this is probably us just thinking too much into it. Like, the thing is, it's probably not going to be affordable because the prices of the games went up. So, like, who's to say that the proprietary external hard drive garbage isn't going to either? And that's another thing I want to get into is the games. The games, they showed what they did on the PS5 event, but they didn't give enough details until after the showing, where we just heard it from word of mouth. Like, this journalist said this journalist said that. It's all coming together. Yeah, it's super dumb. The small thing that I found out, obviously, was that the games would be they would range from $59.99 to $69.99. How this gen was $49.99 and $59.99. So games, like, it wasn't just 2K like we discussed last time. It's every game. So, for example, Spider-Man's going to be $49.99 and the Ultimate Edition is going to be $69. Sackboy is going to be $59, Demon Souls is going to be $69, etc., etc. But the thing that got me the most, that we gave Xbox so much crap for, and Sony's doing the same exact thing.
So it's Sony's turn.
All right, Sony, get ready. For no reason, like, just randomly, just out of nowhere from all the other websites, because Sony didn't say this during the event, most of these PS5 launch titles are also on PS4 now. And they did not discuss this at all until like this week. So the big one, Spider-Man Miles Morales, the big game that was going to be the PS5 launch game, is also on PS4. And I bet it runs like garbage on the PS4.
I mean, I saw the gameplay. That gameplay looked smooth and looked beautiful.
Yeah. That performance mode, great. 4K 60.
Yeah, that's great. How is that? Because the thing is that what's currently in the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, when the day that they launched, they were underpowered. Everybody in the tech, and I keep saying this, is that the chipset that they use, I think they use a Jaguar chipset. They were anemic. They're anemic. They blow up. They're terrible. They're awful. They're just not good.
You got that jet engine fan?
Oh gosh, streaming the PlayStation 4 demo for Crash Bandicoot 4. My gosh, I thought my PlayStation was going to take off.
Oh my god.
I took a video, literally.
I remember that.
That was me running the PlayStation 4 demo. I'm like, the PlayStation Crash Bandicoot 4 demo. I was like, wow, this thing is hard chugging. This is not good. And then we gave Xbox crap because remember there was a big rumor going around that the Xbox One was holding back Halo 5
and
Halo Infinite and Cyberpunk. And so that's why it's required tweaking and required all these things, and that they might be dropping it entirely for Halo Infinite. But now we're hearing, and then PlayStation, I remember, what was it, Jim Ryan said that they had no interest in doing cross-generations because they want to be able to have all focus on PlayStation 5. Now, I can promise you that is true. I can promise you that was true. But after seeing Xbox being like, hey, you can play it on both consoles, they probably turned to everyone and said, hey, try to get it to run on the PS4. And like what you just said, it's probably going to run like garbage because guess what else is going to be on the PlayStation 4 as well? Horizon Forbidden West.
Yes, that's it. Horizon Forbidden West. Dude, what happened at Sony? I don't understand. They were like, all right, it's going to be an exclusive and we're just going to drop PS4 games. And then they were like, actually, just put it all on there.
Yeah, I feel like something went wrong here. I feel like Sony made a bunch of promises. Sony made a bunch of statements. Xbox came forward and then they changed internally. And I feel like that there's a problem with that, is that PlayStation was playing chicken and waiting to have the knee-jerk reaction against Xbox. And that's a problem. You can't do that because you got Xbox, who's now got everything planned. They got everything planned. They're not looking at what Sony is doing. They're like, okay, here's the price of our consoles. Here's the release date. Here's what's going to be on it. And we disagree with some of it. We agree with some of it. But nonetheless, the one thing that we can say is Xbox has been organized on it.
Oh, yeah.
They know what they're doing. They're going by their playbook. PlayStation is just countering.
I don't know if you saw this, but Xbox shot like a whole, an entire like interview where they had like a big stage and the camera was panning around. They had multiple cameras and a big backdrop of Xbox and everything. And they were gonna air that as like the big Xbox showcase information, but then everything got leaked. So they just said, whatever, show it to the journalist. We just won't even release it. They put all that money and effort into producing that, and then they were like, you know what? It's fine. They already know. We don't need to show them again.
Yeah, no. Microsoft, though they got leaks, they got to figure out the leaks, man. That's been awful about Microsoft, but I digress. Even about the leaks, the thing is that they are going by a playbook. They are running it. They are organized. They're trying to do their best. Still don't got a lot of launch games.
No, yeah. I don't think they have any.
Almost any launch games at all, but I digress.
So my question is, what's concerning me is, we're looking at this as the fact as, oh, these PS5 games are on PS4. How are they going to do that? How is it going to run? How is it even going to... how can I even imagine Horizon Forbidden West running on the PS4? And now I'm thinking, were these just PS4 games initially, and then they just put them on the PS5? Because the thing is, Miles is running at 4K 60 in performance mode. Spider-Man, if you buy the Ultimate Edition of Miles, you get a remaster of PS4 Spider-Man, which also runs at 4K 60 with new textures, new models, everything new, and it's 4K 60. And I'm wondering if this is the same thing. They were making Miles and Horizon and Sackboy, because Sackboy is also on PS4. They're making all these games for the PS4 at some point in time. And Sony was like, hey, our console's launching. Let's move production to focus on the PS5, even though you started development for the PS4. So the fact that they started for the 4, the thing is, the rule in game development is when you're going multi-platform, you always start with the lowest common denominator. That's why a lot of games in the late 2000s, early 10s, when they had a Wii, a PS2, and a PSP port, you start with the PSP and work your way up, because if it can work on the PSP, it can work on everything else. So I think they started with the lowest common denominator, which is the PS4, and then they worked their way up to the 5, and they did all of the improvements on the 5. That's why I bet, I 100% bet that's why they've been boasting Spider-Man loading in 0.8 seconds, because it's a PS4 game on a PS5.
Yeah, that might be entirely true. That might be 100% true, where they started off as PlayStation 4 titles and they got shifted back. I mean, think about it. Look back, what was it? The 2016 show? Yeah, the 2016 show of PlayStation was arguably the best E3 showing almost of all time. Where they showed off Spider-Man, Days Gone, God of War. They showed off just about everything. But you know what it is that they did? They unloaded basically their entire future in one conference, almost everything in one shotgun blast back in 2016. Then we started to see all the other developments for all the other games as well. We barely heard anything from PlayStation at all ever after that. It was just like remember that weird E3 where they started off in a church?
Yeah, they built their own studio to have people in there for one announcement, and they're like, all right, we're gonna move again.
Yeah, and I remember the whole thing was lackluster. The only big announcement was Ghost of Tsushima, which I'm still an excellent game, but that for an E3 event only having one big AAA announcement, that was
Yeah, if I remember correctly, it was Ghost and Last of Us 2, because I remember they had the old guy in front of the stage playing guitar, and then they moved him into the big oval stage, and then he was playing the flute for Ghost. And I remember everyone in chat like, what is going on?
Yeah, it was weird. It was all kind of goofy. That was a bad E3. But now we got Sony showing off all their next gen stuff. You might be 100% correct in the thought that they probably started these off as PS4 titles and then shifted them to the PlayStation 5, because I just can't see some of those sequences that we see from Horizon Forbidden West running even on a base PS4.
Well,
PlayStation 4 Pro maybe, but a base PS4.
Well, the thing we also have to realize is, if I remember correctly, they never showed actual gameplay of Horizon Forbidden West. All they showed were establishing shots of her going around the world, but they were in-engine or they were pre-rendered. I can't tell. But to be fair, we have not seen any gameplay, only cutscenes.
That's true.
Now, the only game that I can think of that Sony announced that I believe is developed specifically for the PS5 is Ratchet and Clank, because it is using everything the PS5 has to its advantage, whereas Sackboy, Spider-Man, Horizon, these are just very pretty games. That's it.
Yeah.
They're pretty games that load really fast. Ratchet is using the SSD as a gameplay mechanic. So I think that is the only game that was developed with the PS5 at the start.
Yeah. I actually agree with that 100%. I think that the Rift Apart was designed specifically for the PlayStation 5 and to be kind of like the PlayStation 5 stress test, kind of like how Breath of the Wild was a stress test for the Switch, because the Switch, it was like, how much can the Switch handle? And Breath of the Wild is kind of like the bar. Is like, that's it. That's what it can handle, and that's the most it will handle. And even then, it's arguable if it handles it correctly or not.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, like, I know what we saw of Ratchet was pre-alpha, but I think launching with Ratchet would have been a way better launch title for the PS5, because like what we did with Breath of the Wild, it was like, okay, the Switch launches with this big massive game. It's like, okay, this is the bar. This launch title is the bar for what we can do, and it only gets better as we go on. If it launched with Ratchet, showing all of the power of the PS5 right then and there as the bar of greatness you could do on the PS5, and it would expand from there. Launching with potentially PS4 games, it just doesn't, like with the Switch, the games were proprietary, so it could only run Switch games. With the PS5 launching with possibly PS4 games, kind of puts it in a new light. I mean, to be fair, the Xbox isn't launching with anything, so Sony has that. They have that leg up.
I don't know what it is. Like, I really don't know what it is that Xbox is launching that's even exclusive.
Nothing. I looked at it. There are no exclusive games coming out at launch. It's only going to be third-party stuff. So it's going to be Madden, FIFA, UFC, and Call of Duty.
And Assassin's Creed. Which, by the way, you can get on the Xbox One. Yeah, I'm having a hard time. There's gotta be one title. Is there not?
Okay, let's look up Xbox Series X launch titles. Let's see what we get.
One.
13 hours ago. Okay. So Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Okay, so these are going to be for the November 10th launch. We got Assassin's Creed, Dirt 5, FIFA 21, Fortnite, Gears 5 Series X upgraded, Gears Tactics, Avengers, NBA 2K21, Observer, Tetris Effect, The Falconer, Watch Dogs, and Yakuza. Yakuza, you can't argue that that's an exclusive because it came out on the PS4 last year in Japan. It's already been out. And Gears Tactics, I think, is either a port, but it's also on PC, and potentially Xbox One, I believe. And that's it.
So the only thing that they're really launching with is a Gears 5 upgrade.
Sure. Yeah, if you want that. I thought Call of Duty was coming out. When is that? November 13th. Yeah, okay. So wait, when is Xbox launching? The 10th?
The 10th, right.
Oh, good lord. I guess it makes sense that Activision would want to hug Sony's launch date first.
Yeah,
Yep, that is no exclusives.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want us to be wrong on this.
Yeah.
Are we missing any exclusives for Xbox? Please comment. Let us know if we're missing any exclusive. And I mean, I'm not saying exclusive. Even if it's just an Xbox in general exclusive, it could be coming out for the One as well. That's fine because that's fair because Miles Morales is coming out for the One as well.
And
but please,
new development, Gears Tactics. I thought it was like a game for the Xbox that was launching when the Xbox comes out. No, it's released April 28th on PC, and it's also coming to Xbox One. So there are no exclusives.
If we're wrong, please let us know.
Yeah, please let me know because I'm looking at an updated list, and that's for November 10th. Everything else, there's another list that's games coming to Xbox Series X/S around launch, not at launch, just around it, and a lot of them are third-party stuff.
Please let us know. And I'm not trying to crap all over Xbox. I think we crapped all over PlayStation.
Oh
today.
yeah.
I'm literally asking, please tell me, and actually tell me because I'm going to be picking up a Series X, and they're going to be asking me what games do you want to pre-order.
You're like, what do you got?
It's going to be like, what do you got, right?
You get to look at your 360 games and be like, okay, I can't wait to play these again.
Yeah, it's my small library of games. Woo.
Yeah, same here because only like a 16th of my collection works on it.
Anyways. So that is it for today's episode of WumpaTime. Did we miss anything, Shemp?
I don't believe so. Thank you guys so much. This was a lot of fun to finally crap all over Sony this time. If you're listening on YouTube, you can find us anywhere with audio: Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, anything. All the audio links are in the description. Our Twitter links are in the description as well. It's all on a link tree. It's at Canadian Guy A with an extra H because the imposter is still out there, Among Us style. And then it is at Shemp Official for me. The only thing I have to say is recently I launched a new show on my channel called Collectathon that I've been developing for like 4 months. And the second episode actually came out yesterday, whenever you're listening to this. And it's regarding the Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection, which we discussed last episode. And it's explaining why it's a limited run. And it's a very, very loaded answer. And the only other thing that I've done is I also did a video on my thoughts on the Crash Bandicoot 4 demo. And Canadian Guy here already has done his, so pair ours up together.
Thank you all so much for listening, and we'll see you guys in the next episode of WumpaTime.
Bye!